What's going on, y'all? We just talk. Yo, YouTube is kind of getting scammy, man. You know, it's kind of getting scammy. Like you gotta pay for comments now. What time is it? It's almost 7. Hey, you gotta pay for comments now. You know, which is it's kind of weird having to pay for comments. You know, I don't know. Uh, it's weird, man. It's really, really weird. You know, YouTube is really starting to seem like scammy. You know, like they want to squeeze every dollar out of the revenue that they get, that the content creators get. Now they want to squeeze every comment out of the commenters. You know, I mean, every dollar. They want to squeeze every dollar out of the commenters' pocket. You know, um, it's weird, man. You know, if you're just coming in, YouTube has a new update where, in order to comment on a video, you got to give a super thanks. You know, um, which is kind of scammy, man. You know, it's really nice out here. I like this. It's muggy, you know. So, you know, it's really nice out here. I usually take a walk in the morning. This is Georgia. You don't want to be walking out there. It is fine if you're walking from here to there. Boy, I've seen flies pass out. It gets so hot in Georgia. That's for real. You know, I'm just exaggerating, but I'm saying. But I have seen some flies flying slow. I ain't gonna front. I look. It gets hot. Oh Lord, the sun's coming up. I gotta beat it. I'm actually walking to the store, you know. But what I was, hey, you smoking loud this early? Wake and bake. Ooh, it's in that house right there. Oh man, that house with the kids. That's a nice house. Oh, homeboy smoking on the back porch. Hey, how you doing? Nah, I'm good. I'm good. Nah, I'm good. Fool off me weed, bro. Nah, I'm good, bro. But yeah, what's going on with YouTube is they're charging now for comments. That's what's crazy. Hey, Camden, are you from Camden? My favorite color? It switches. Um, Altogether, consistently, it's been blue. Although I'm going through a black phase where I'm doing is buying black clothes, but it's blue. Um, Link, what's up? What up? What up? What up? What up? What up? What up? Camden, is that your real name? You still in the chat? Is that your real name? I got family in Camden, New Jersey. That's why I was asking. Camden is like how do you say, the armpit of America. Sorry, but it is. And I love Jersey. That's where I'm from. I live in Georgia now, but I love Jersey. But Camden is pretty wild. It's pretty rough, you know. But what YouTube is doing, they're charging. If you want to comment on something, you want to comment on a video. I don't know about live. I'm assuming. I'm assuming. Um, Shout out Jaxie FN. That's cool. Jaxie FN. What's popping? Are you gonna shout me out? But yeah, man, check it out. Next time you try to comment on a YouTube video, I don't think it's a live, but a YouTube video, they're gonna ask you to spend $1.99 to comment. You know, put the little dollar sign with the heart, and unless you press that and pay for it, you can't comment. That's kind of scammy. It's kind of scammy. Jaxie, I'm not gonna sub to you, Jax. Yo, check it out. This is how I found out. I do a lot of editing on my phone. You know, I just ain't got time taking stuff off the phone and dumping it in the computer. I ain't got time for that. So the issue with that is it takes up a lot of memory. So what I do is I'll offload apps because they over time they collect what's called bloatware. So you want to offload it and then reinstall it. Not just offload it. I uninstall it and reinstall it. It comes back cleaner, comes back with less. You know, if it was filled with 5 gigs of just trash, when you reinstall it, it'll be like, it'll be lower. It'll take up less space. Well, I did that this morning. When I reinstalled it, apparently I installed an update. Now I have to pay for every comment on on YouTube. Well, not every comment. Um, Certain pages I was able to, like I went on DJ Academics page. I didn't have to comment on that. I mean, I didn't have to pay for that. But like I want to say roughly 99% of the other channels I commented on, including my own, they were trying to charge me. They were trying to charge me to comment on my own video, and I'm not even monetized. That's crazy. Justin Simeno, what up? But it's crazy. I don't. My thing is, YouTube is already drawing from the money. They're already taking a cut from the money they get from content creators. Now they're finding more ways to milk dollars out of the watchers, out of the people that watch out of the consumers. I'm like, well, dang, like, how about y'all cut some of them jobs? Because I know there's a lot of people that work at Google that shouldn't be working at Google. They're pencil pushers and do nothing, you know. Um, and all it does, I don't like TikTok, but what it's going to do is just going to make TikTok explode. People are going to leave. They're going to be like, man, I ain't got time for that, you know. Um, the bigger story is the bigger picture is I saw it happening with music. Get you locked into a digital system, get you reliant on that digital system, and then ratchet it up and slowly but surely draw more money out of the consumers and the creators. They did it to music, which is why artists are abandoning the streaming model and going direct to consumer. That's what I'm doing. Um, the albums, I have two albums, one, two, three albums, two EPs, and like five or six singles on YouTube, Spotify, all that stuff. The new music I'm leaving that up there. I don't care. I'm just gonna leave it up there. But I actually have about five or six more albums that I'm not gonna release. I'm just gonna release through Bandcamp, direct to consumer. If you want it, you can buy it. You don't gotta stream it. You can have it. It's a one-time purchase. 13 tracks, $8. Can't beat that. Albums back in the day, 13 tracks, about 12 to $14. You know, but I'm not I'm not dealing with the whole squeeze tactics that these DSPs are doing. And eventually it's gonna happen with YouTube. YouTube, what happened is Google became the biggest search engine. They bought YouTube, they tied YouTube to the search engine of Google, so it's all integrated. Now, whatever you search is through Google, for most people anyway. Now, because it's LinkedIn, um, they pretty much cornered the market on search engines. And they're trying to use one to squeeze money and help finance the other, and really help finance everything. You know, that's a rough theory, but I know that's just the system. You know, that's any system. You get people tied into a system, and then you make them reliant on that system. So you slowly start taxing them more and more and more. You know, that's actually an old political trick. You know, but that being said, as creators, you should always use multiple platforms. If one goes down, you got another one. Another goes down, you got another one. Another goes down, you got another one. You know, I've always kind of been. This is really weird, but I've always kind of been one of the first drummers on a platform. I think I was like the first one on. Ooh, I was the first one on Vine when it first popped out. I was one of the early ones. One of the first. I was one of the early ones on what's the name? On Insta. Um, YouTube, I by far was the first one. I mean, I joined YouTube in like '07. There were a few drummers already. It's just right now. I'm the only one that gave you a shout out. Listen, man. You know why people don't do that? Is because it's sometimes people it be trolls. Like it'd be like you know some crazy name. Hey, give me a shout out. And it's like what? You know. But I know for me, I try not to think of everybody as like some troll. You know what I mean? So I give you a shout out. And I think I'm smart enough to kind of discern whether somebody's being a troll or not. You know. But yeah, that's you can't take offense to that, man. There's a lot of trolls out there. You know. Where you from, Jack? Oh, that's Chloe. Where you from, Jack? Uh, You shout me out. Justin Semino. What's good? Wallet. No, I don't want that. Of course. Actually, I'll put this in here. Sorry, y'all. Take it easy, man. I'm back. Was you in service? Sunday service? No, I'm no. No. This joker came to work in some all white Nikes. The inner the inner troll in me was about to clown him, which would have made for good content. Oof, I really want to say something. I really want to start clowning him. Oh, the jokes are flying in my head right now. But yeah, so yeah, man, YouTube, man, it's starting to become scam tools, to be honest. You know, unfortunately, I don't know, man. I look at it like this. Like I was talking to this guy from Britain. Um, I can't remember his name. We subscribed to each other's pages. But he was just kind of, and we were talking about music, but he was just kind of like, well, I made a point. I was like, the only way it'll work for musicians, and really, this way works for everybody. It's the same thing black folks did in the 60s during the bus boycott. What they did is black folks had to sit on the back. So they said, okay, since you don't want us to sit in the front, we'll just abandon the system. So they rallied together and they got all their cousins and uncles and nephews, and cousin Boo Boo and them, Uncle Larry, Aunt TT and them. Um, Everybody was carpooling, getting rides, and you know what I mean, figuring it out. And it was so bad that the bus system actually shut down due to bankruptcy. You know, that works for everybody. It works for music. It works for that. The system is only as good as the people who use it. We are the system. I am, and all these little four people in my chat, we're the system. Why do they make more money than us? We create the content for your platform. Without our content, you have no platform. So remove the platform. Remove the content. Now, problem with that is you got the Jake Pauls and all those guys who stand to benefit from the system. You know, I'm talking about YouTube. They stand to benefit from it. You know, it's almost like Drake and the streaming, the street, like in DSPs. Drake is not screaming independent, you know, start, you know, start going direct to consumer. Kanye was on that tip when the DSPs stopped streaming his music. Um, that's why there's a guy named Steve Stout. He said if Drake were to ever abandon the system and go direct to consumer, he would break the music industry. You know, and Taylor Swift, same thing. Bad Bunny, same thing. The way the system works is um, the more, in order for me to, it's this way. The bigger the artist, the bigger the check you get. The smaller the artist, the smaller the check you get. But what they tell you is, oh, you know, we're going to pay you based on your streams, the money that you generate from your streams. Well, in order for me to make $25, and this is in 1 month, my fans have to stream one of my songs every day for a month for me to make $25. You know, it's insane. Like the amount of money, and Spotify is the biggest one. And it pays the least. Really, all these DSPs are screwing us over. You know, and I'll give you a little history lesson. Part of the reason why they got rid of iTunes. What Apple did is Apple led, and they led the charge on this. What Apple did is, as soon as Napster and all that stuff popped off, what they did was they said, "Hey, we're gonna put your stuff on DSPs and lock it behind a paywall." You know, and it was fair. If back in the day, if you bought a CD that had 10 songs, 10, 12 songs, a basic CD, it would cost you $9.99. So if I put 10 songs on iTunes, it would cost $9.99. Well, they let that go for a while because it got people thinking, oh, I don't have to think about pressing up any CDs. I don't have to think about cover art. I don't have to think about anything. Well, you know, you don't have to have the folder. You don't have to have the jewel case. That's stuff you got to pay for. With iTunes, it eliminated all that. All you had to do is have the MP3, have your metadata correct, and boom, you get paid. Of course, for a certain percentage, but it was fair. Well, what they did, they created an option, a streaming only option. You didn't have to buy it. You could stream it, but you pay per month. So you could use iTunes, and you can use, or you could use Apple Music. If you notice, they phased out iTunes, and now you can only stream. You can't like you. Well, there's ways you can still. There's ways to buy the MP3s. Um, but it's largely not. iTunes is largely just not used. It's not. It hasn't been updated. It's not used. It's not. You can still purchase from it, but ain't nobody checking for it because what they wanted to do is get people used to not having to download music. If they don't have to download it, they don't own the music. Because you buy something, you own it. You know, but if you're streaming it, you're paying for the usage of it. Use it for your enjoyment. Now they can tell the creators, look, we have a new system. You don't have to worry about memory. Your consumers, your fans don't even have to worry about memory space. They don't have to worry about storage. They can just stream it, and that's it. And because they can just stream it, and that's it, it gives them access to more music. So as an artist, the creator, you're thinking access. That means more people are gonna be checking for my stuff, or it just gives you more exposure. The thing they don't tell you is they pay you. And Apple Music's pretty fair. They can pay you like 3 cents a stream or something like that. It's like a little like yeah, it's like maybe 3 cents a stream, if that. You know, as opposed to 0.000763% of a penny. You know, but they slowly integrated everybody into the streaming era, and now what it essentially does is devalue music. There was a point in time where you valued an album because you paid for it. You valued if you went on iTunes and downloaded 10 songs for $9.99, you valued it because you paid for it. It's your music. You kept it. You own it. Now, first of all, there's no ownership. Number one. Number two, they're gonna charge you $10, $12, $14. I pay 16 a month for iTunes. I mean for Apple Music. But I pay for me and my wife and my two kids. Two of my kids anyway. The other two, they're too young for phones. We're old fashioned like that. But the two oldest ones, I pay for mine, my wife's, and both of theirs. Um, so that's why I pay so much. But now I pay about $9 to $12. You don't own anything, man. And if you don't pay, they can take it from you. You know, if you don't pay, discontinue service. You know, and I don't agree with that. You know, so it devalues music because you have less of a sense of I'm buying it and more of a sense of it's just background stuff that's playing. You know what I mean? But it's little games like that, man. I'm just rambling right now because I'm kind of bored. I like the scenery, walking school, but I got a lot of thoughts in my head I got to get out. You know, but yeah, John, that's weird. Sub to you, Jax. Who is this guy? I'm not gonna sub to you, Jax. So I don't know, but this is a nice walk. So you're gonna start hearing. And what's going on is this is crazy. The BBL Drizzy song, that company's getting sued for that. They're getting sued by Sony UMG. There are two companies that use, active AI, whatever. They're it's like platforms where you could generate AI, songs. Well, Sony UMG is actually suing them. The reason why is because they have their own version of AI. It's called UDO. Pretty sure it's called UDO. Um, they put their technology in the new update of Pro Tools and the new update of Logic 11. Um, so they're really pushing their own. And what it is it's a tool where if you sing, you could pay to have like Drake's voice over it, or Taylor Swift's voice over it, or Bad Bunny's voice over it, or Jay Z's voice over it. Like you can pay to have you can make a beat, and then because now it has what's called a stem splitter. Logic, I don't know about Pro Tools. Logic has what's called a stem splitter. You can take a song, it'll literally separate every track, like the drums, the bass, the lead instrument, whether it's keyboards or guitar. It'll separate the keyboards from the guitar and the vocals. So you can literally split a song, analyze it, recreate it, put your own vocals on it, and just, for lack of a better term, mask it. Like, I don't know, SZA sang it or somebody like that. It's crazy, you know. They're trying to sue. UMG is trying to sue these upstart AI companies for doing the very thing they want to do. You know, it's crazy. You know, okay. You know, it's crazy. I don't know if y'all can hear me, but yeah, the I don't know. You gotta abandon the sinking ship, man. The ship is sinking, and if you're an artist, the I had a chance back in the day to get signed to Warner Brothers with the band I was with. I didn't want to do it. My cousin was signed to the band at the time. He was signed to Warner Brothers. Mick Jagger actually discovered my cousin's band, and he literally walked them into Warner Brothers and signed them to a deal. The first album was huge. My cousin was the lead singer. If you've ever heard of the song called Cult of Personality, it's a black metal band. They were huge in like the 80s and the 90s. But I remember calling him. I said, man, congratulations on the success. He was like, man, send me your demos. I got a record deal waiting for you. I never sent them, you know. But the way I was living, nah. I was just in that rock and roll lifestyle. Nah, nah, nope. It just wasn't. It's something in me told me, yeah, that might not what you want to do. It might not be what you want to do. Just like the whole, because I was a wild boy. I was a party guy, you know. Back now, and I'm glad. I would die. I wouldn't be married. I wouldn't have kids, and I wouldn't be playing music. I would have died of some drug overdose, or I'd have got shot, or whatever. Who knows? But I would not survive, you know. And I look back, I feel like I don't know if y'all are religious or anything, but I feel like God just kind of maneuvered me around a lot of a lot of insane, like looking back, I was like, man, that was insane. Why would I even get in that situation? I didn't have the foresight, you know. Um, but I feel like, God just kind of, and I know God, the term God kind of turns people off, but it kind of is what it is, man. I can't help it. Like when, you know, God is guiding you, you know. Um, but yeah, but that was one of the times I look back and I thank God, because who knows what I would have been signed up for, what I would have signed up for. I know, like, and even back then, especially back then, labels were like the predatory contract. Like, put it this way: you look at them rappers back then, the jokers are broke, bro. Why you think they went to acting? They wouldn't get no money in rapping. You know what I mean? And the rock and roll guys, you can say, well, they're paying the white boys. No, they weren't. They weren't paying them white boys. Cause I was in rock bands, bro. I was in like the first. We didn't call it grunge. We called it alternative. I was like in a band. We were like the first generation of like alternative music. You know. Um. So I'm talking the early '90s. I'm talking 90, 91, around 90, 91. Um. But those white boys weren't getting paid, man. They weren't. The only way those white boys were getting paid is if they were keeping them on the road for years, bro. Years. I know guys. They weren't the main dude. They were just like, they were like the touring guys. They were the hired guns. They were on tour for years, bro. Years. You know, bands like Van Halen, they toured for like 4 or 5 years straight. Metallica, they have a DVD of 2 years on the road. I want to say it's either 18 months or 2 years, something, yeah, on the road. It's a DVD. You know, they kept them on the road, either on the road. The cycle was make an album, make an album early in January, release it, go on the road for a year and a half. You come back from the road, got to make another one. And you had to do this every year. You had to do this every year. You know, it wasn't until hip hop came around that rappers were like, bump that, we doing 2 years. And even then they try to do it like they try to work them like they was working the white boys. They was like 2 years, okay, we want such and such albums and this and that, you know. But rock bands, that's why a lot of them resorted to drugs and alcohol. They would work those rock bands like slaves, man. Slaves. You know what I mean? And they would just, I mean, if they could wheel you out there with a bottle of Jack Daniels and you can sing, they'll wheel you out there, you know. Um, and what happened is, I think in a lot of ways, the rock guys took a cue from the hip hop guys. They said, we ain't trying to get worked to death. So they started taking their time and taking time for themselves. And you know what I mean? So, but yeah, man, it was like, you know, it was worse. So then when hip hop explodes, 𝕄𝔸ℚ, who was working at Def Jam at the time, invented the 360 deal. It's about 94, where they get a percentage of merch. Because what was happening is it was done in a response to a lot of rappers who just in the house or sit, stay in the studio and just record music. You can do that if you're Steely Dan and every album you create is a classic, but you can't do that if your albums are trash. And that's what they were doing. Or even if they're mediocre, you don't have to work that stuff. You have to do promo tours. At least Steely Dan did promo tours. You don't want to do nothing. So the natural reaction was, okay, well, whenever you do tour, we want a percentage of that. And that's how the 360 deal started. It was nothing really nefarious originally, but whatever people create, the next generation finds a way to screw it up. That being said, my generation came around and saw how much money you can generate from it. So we took advantage of it. You know, we, as in my generation, took advantage of it. You know, and you know, things always go from better to worse. It just got worse and worse and worse. So now you can't make money off records. That's established. And they tell you, well, go tour. That's how you make your money. Go tour. So when you tour, they have A, 360 deals that take a percentage of your merch, and B, places like AG Entertainment, and well, AG's not really as bad. What's the name of those guys? Live Nation. Live Nation bought up a lot of the venues. So now, if you want to get booked through Live Nation. It used to be Ticketmaster. You know, like I saw Iron Maiden Quiet Riot, $25. This was in the 80s. I saw, and it was ticket prices were $25 for a while. I saw Michael Jackson Victory Tour. Well, actually, I saw Michael Jackson Off the Wall, and years later during the Victory Tour, $25. I saw in '78 Van Halen open up for Black Sabbath, $25. And that was a wild show. Van Halen was rocking so hard, it was at the Asbury Park. Van Halen was rocking so hard, it was at the Asbury Park Convention Hall. Bro, the ceiling, like they had, like it was an old like theater. It's like a giant theater. When I say giant, like if you go to a movie theater, it was like 4 times the size. It was huge. Um, it was almost like a mall, but this was like a theater. But it had you know, it was old building, so a lot of stuff was retrofitted. Well, they had a drop ceiling. They had the tiles, the weird, whatever tiles. Man, it was so loud. They had that place rocking so hard, the tiles were falling out the ceiling. It was wild. It was me and RIP, my boy Neil Holloway. Me and Neil. Neil was a few years old. I was 13. Neil was like a few years older than me. He was like maybe 17, 16, 17. Man, after Van Halen, we saw Ozzy drunk as a skunk on a bunk on stage trying to sing. I was like, bro, I'm out of here. I'm out of this piece. And we left, you know. And to be honest, I tell people this all the time. I had heard Van Halen before. I had like, remember those the record, they had the Columbia House record clearance, whatever, you know, you get monthly records. Warner Brothers had the same thing. Well, not me, my stepdad. He had gotten, you know, because they give you sample albums of the hottest stuff. Well, Van Halen 1 came. I heard it. I was like, ugh, what is this? This is trash. I didn't understand it. It was so advanced, my ears couldn't comprehend what was going on. It wasn't until I saw them live that I said, oh, that's what these guys are on. That's what type of time. And I became an instant fan. Went back. Of course, I re-listened to it. And I was like, oh, you know, the thing about music is a good performer, if you don't like the song, a good performer will play it live. You'll see them live. And what that does is that puts the song in context so that now you listen to the song, you're listening with fresh ears. Ugh, dog poo. Um, and that's what it did for me. I was now they're like one of my favorite bands. You know, I hate walking up hills. They got a bad nerve in my shoulder. Hmm. Acura, engineering.